السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نعم، نحن في الدرس الثاني عشر. We're in the 12th lesson, الدرس الثاني عشر. Okay, and so as we've done before in the previous classes, I'm gonna go to the index first. So if you have the book, inshallah, with the index, and just to go over important notes that we need to learn before we go through the lesson. So we learned before, anta is you is a masculine singular. In this lesson, you're gonna see anti, you for a feminine singular. Yani like min ayna anti ya aminatu, where are you from, Anima? And the possessive pronoun for anti is kaf with a kasra on it, ki. So if you like, for instance, aina beituki ya Maryamu, where's your house, Maryam? And we learned that the possessive pronoun for anta is kaf with a fatha, ka, like aina beituka ya Bilalu, where's your house, Bilal? And we learned that dahaba means he went. The habtu, where you put a sukoon on the ba. So the original form, for huwa in the past tense, maldi, is dahaba, he went. So what you do is you put a sukoon over the last letter, and then you put a ta with a dhamma on it for I went, when you conjugate it for ana in the past tense, the habtu. And that's the same thing with other three-letter verbs. You follow the same pattern, and inshallah you'll see that more so throughout the book, inshallah, as we go along. And the habta means you went, masculine singular. The habta, you, masculine singular. And now in this lesson, we're going to see the habat. The habat means she went. That's how you conjugate it for hiya in the past tense. The habat. So yani, the only difference, so dahaba, he went, you put a ta at the end and put a sukoon on it. Dahabat. Okay. Aina aminatu, where's anima? Dahabat ila jami'ati. She went to the university. Okay. All right. So let's see. Dahabat Maryamu ila madrasati. So the ta has a sukoon on it. So remember, you put the sukoon on a ta. There's a ta'nith. The ta for yani the feminine ta, you say. Okay. Naam. And so we went over in the previous lesson alladhi, which is used for who or which for a masculine singular. In this lesson, we'll be introduced allati, which is for feminine singular. Yani at-talibatu allati, the girl student who, you would translate it as who, allati jalasat amam al-mudarrisati min Almania, who sat in front of the lady teacher, is from Germany. Okay. As-sa'atu allati. So same thing with objects that are feminine words. We don't use alladhi, we use allati. Allati with a shadda over the lam. Allati. As-sa'atu allati. So when it's in a sentence, you actually when you have a word in front of it, just like with alladhi, when something's in front of it, yani that connects to it, you have a hamza to wasl, so you go straight to the lam with the shadda. So same thing with allati, you don't say as-sa'atu allati, you say as-sa'atu allati, as-sa'atu allati. So you go straight to the lam in allati. And inshallah, I'll show you in the video, inshallah. As-sa'atu allati ala al-maktabi lil-mudarrisi. So the which means the watch, which allati, which is on the desk, ala al-maktabi lil-mudarrisi, belongs to the teacher. Okay, and we learned that kitabuka, your means your book, and so hada kitabuka anta, this is your book. Here anta is added for emphasis. This is used in case there is a doubt or dispute. Yani hada baytuhu huwa. Yeah, so you don't. So it's not necessary when you say baytuhu, it's understood, means his house. But in order to add emphasis, you say hada baytuhu huwa. Yani if there's a doubt or dispute in the matter. Hada qalami ana. Hada qalami ana. So qalami already means my pen. That yeah at the end indicates ana. It indicates that it's my pen. Yani, but you put the ana after it. You say the pronoun again for emphasis. Dalika kitabuha hiya. That is her book. That So you don't have to use this, but this is just when you a way of adding emphasis to what you're saying. Like if there's some type of argument about whose book it is or whose pen it is. Yani, let's say in this case it's her book. So you say ذلك كتابها هي. Now, and just to go over the mufradat and jadida, the new vocabulary. الشجرة means tree. الشجرة the tree. Now with a sheen. سورية is Syria. المدرسة المتوسطة is middle school. المدرسة المتوسطة. المفتش okay. المفتش with a shadda on the ta. المفتش is inspector. الفتاة is young lady. الدفتر is notebook. Malaysia. أنا بخير means I am fine or I'm good, I'm doing well. أنا بخير. Okay. Abun, and which we went over in the previous lesson. Abun means father. It has a shadda on the ba. And the jama', the plural of abun is aba'un. So you have an aleph with that long that long line over it, which elongates the sound. So it's aba'un. Alimun is plural is ulama'u. So this is like in Arabic, in English, when we make something plural, we just throw an S on it. Like cat, cats, dog, dogs, book, books. In Arabic, you have, a lot of the times you have what's called broken plurals. And you just have to know the plural. There's no set way of knowing what's going to be the plural, form of this word. So, alimun, the jama' is squirrel, is ulama'u. Da'ifun, the jama' is di'afun. So weak, da'ifun, the jama' is di'afun. An ammu is the paternal uncle, ammu. An ammatu is the paternal aunt, meaning on the father's side. So there's a difference. You have an ammu is the uncle on the father's side of the family, when ammatu is the paternal aunt. The aunt is on the father's side. Al-khalu is the maternal uncle on the mother's side. Well, al-khalatu is the maternal aunt. So you notice the only difference, changing it from uncle to aunt, is putting the ta marbuta at the end. So khalatu is the maternal aunt. Mustashfa al-wilada. Mustashfa al-wilada is maternity hospital. Where wilada means birth, or giving birth. It's a masdar from walada, which means to give birth. Now, walada yuridu. Ya sayyidi. Ya sayyidi means sir. Oh, sir. Ya sayyidi. Ya sayyidati is madam. Kayfa haruka means how are you or how do you do. Kayfa haruka, and that's to a man. And if you're speaking to a woman, you say kayfa haruki. Kayfa haruki. Okay. Ummun is mother. The jama' is ummahat. Ummahatun. Wazirun, minister. Jama' wuzara'u. Qawiyun is strong. The jama' is aqwiya'u. And notice there's only one dhamma on those type of plurals. Say wazirun, jama', wuzara'u. There's no tanween. Wuzara'u. And then qawiyun is plural is aqwiya'u. No tanween. So ba'da, after. And then noun after ba'da is in the genitive case. It's majroor. Okay. Al-Mamlakat al-Arabiyyah al-Saudiyyah is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Mamlakat al-Arabiyyah al-Saudiyyah. Okay, thank you for helping me, Mo.
You're welcome.
That's my binti in the khalfiyah, in the background.
You're crazy, Bibi.
Okay, الدرس الثاني عشرة, 10th lesson. Okay, so we'll start with the text. Su'ad is a feminine name. That's a girl's name. She's saying, Assalamu alayki wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, which means peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah and His blessings. And notice it's Assalamu alayki. So this is the kaf, which is for the singular feminine. This is the pronoun anti. So peace be upon you, singular feminine. Assalamu alayki. Al-bintu. So this girl that she's giving salams to, she responds, وعليك السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. And upon you be peace and the mercy of Allah and His blessings. So obviously, if she's said to her, wa alayka salam, if she used a fatha on the kaf instead of a kasra, she might have got offended. You know, she might have been offended because it's two women talking to each other. Okay, so we use when a woman is being addressed, you use the kaf with a kasra, just like with the noun ألتي, you use a kasra on the ta, and ألتي, which means you, feminine, singular. وعليك السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay. كيف حالك يا بنت? So now she's asking her, how are you? كيف حالك يا بنت? And then, like I said, if you were talking to a man, it would be كيف حالك, but she's talking to a woman, so it's كيف حالك يا بنت. And notice the ya and nida. Yani, this is the harf and nida. This is what we use. Use this ya with a, the alif, it doesn't have a hamza on top. It just elongates the sound. And use that when you're calling someone. And then the name, yani, or the person, or you could be just saying, oh boy, oh girl, whoever you're calling, oh teacher, it can't have tanween. Okay? The name of the person, yani, can't have tanween. It's only going to have one haraka. So you drop one of the dhammas and it's ya bintu. Like it would be incorrect to say ya bintun with a tanween. So you have to say ya bintu. That's what this harfi nida does to the word or the name following it. Ana bi khayrun walhamdu lillah. She said, Ana bi khayrun, I'm good. So once again, we have this ba with a kasra, which can mean in or with, or as we saw before, at. So here it means, like saying, because khayrun means good or goodness, khayrun, and it has it has a kasratain instead of a dhammatain because of this ba with a kasra. Because of this ba with a kasra, as we learned before, is harf jar, So whatever comes after it becomes majroor, right? Ana bi khayrun, I'm good. Walhamdu lillah. Now, ana bi khayrun. Walhamdu lillahi. So this is alhamdu, the praise. And if you remember, inshallah, I'm going to draw a line under it. So here, Allah, Ismun Jalala, his name becomes majroor. Okay, because Allah's name is Allahu, Allahu. So there's only one dhamma at the end. When you say, let me just go ahead and write it. All right. Right? Allahu. So this last letter, the ha, gets a dhamma. Okay? Just one dhamma. There's no tanween on Allah. Okay? Allahu. So because it is here, you have the lam and milkiyah. So we're saying that all praise belongs to Allah. So lam with a kasra can mean for, so you could translate it as all praise for Allah or all praise belongs to Allah. And the ha at the end becomes majroor. Yani the word ism jalala becomes majroor because it is lam and milkiyah, right? Because it's a harf jar. So at the end we would put a kasra. Oops. Change that. Sorry. No. Lillahi. Okay. So alhamdulillahi becomes majroor. Why? Because of lam and milkiyah. So all praise belongs to Allah. Okay. Min aina anti. Where are you from? Okay. Ana min Riyadh. She said, I'm from Riyadh, which, as we know, is the Asima and Mamlaka al-Arabiya Saudiya. It's the capital of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Masmuki. You see Hamza Tawasl. Masmuki. What is your name? Ismi Aminatu. Ismi Aminatu. So Aminatu is one of those names that only has one dhamma at the end. It doesn't have tanween. Ismi Aminatu. Aina Abuki. Where's your father? Aina Abuki. Abi huna fin Madinah Munawwarati. My father is here in Medina al-Munawwara. هو موجه في المدرسة الثانوية. He is in this. That's not going to work. Let me clear everything. So see if you can. This Jim should have has a shadda on it. هو موجه. He is an instructor في المدرسة الثانوية, يعني in the high school. Okay, so he's a teacher and he's an instructor. موجه. وأين أمك? And where is your mom? أين أمك? هي أيضا هنا. هي طبيبة في مستشفى الولادة. She is also here. She is طبيبة. She is a female doctor في مستشفى الولادة, in the maternity hospital, يعني where the babies are born. ومن هذه الفتاة التي معك? And who is this young girl or young lady who is with you? So notice here we're using التي because it's a feminine word. All right. So if you're talking about a guy, a man, you would say من هذا الفتاة الذي, with the dal at the end, with the dal and the ya, الذي. But because we're talking about a woman, we're going to use التي. And also this hamza is hamza to wasl when you have something in front of it. See al-fatah, you wouldn't say al-fatah allati, you say al-fatatu allati. Whereas allati, if it was in the beginning of the sentence, then you would say allati, you would pronounce the hamza in allati. But because it's followed by al-fatatu, this atal mabuta, the dhamma on the atal mabuta is going to connect directly to the lam. Okay, that's what the shadda is. Okay, that's what. So it's by itself, it's allati, something in front of it, like this in this instance, al-fatah to al-fatah tul. So connect the sound, merge the sound straight to the lam. Al-fatah tullati ma'aki. So who is this young lady with you? Hiya ukhtuki, is she your sister? Hiya ukhtuki? La, hiya bintu ammi. No, she is the daughter of my paternal uncle, so that would make her my cousin. And it's her female cousin. La hiya bintu ammi. Masmuha. What is her name? Masmuha. Okay, so now we'll take this. Okay, let's continue down. Masmuha. What is her name? Ismuha Fatimatu. Ismuha Fatimatu. Her name is Fatima. Here, Zamilatuki. So if you remember previously, we saw Zamilun. Zamilun is a classmate or colleague. Zamila, with a time marbut at the end, is a female classmate or colleague. Okay, so probably since she's in school, she's talking about asking her if she's her classmate. Here, Zamilatuki, is she your classmate? La, أنا في المدرسة المتوسطة. No, I am in middle school, متوسطة. وهي في المدرسة الثانوية, and she is in high school. Okay, so there's an age difference here. So they're not peers. Yeah. أنا في المدرسة المتوسطة وهي في المدرسة الثانوية. Okay. ألكِ أخت? Do you have a sister? So here we see the lam al-milkiyya when it's used with the singular feminine you, okay, which is kaf or kasra. So this the lam in this case gets a fatha and no longer will have like alhamdulillahi, where in other cases the lam al-milkiyya has a kasra. Here, when it's connected to any pronoun other than basically anyone other than the pronoun for ana, which is the ya, then it's where it keeps, in that case, it will keep its kasra. And with the other pronouns, the other attached pronouns is going to get a fatha. So it becomes so this as just to indicating it's a question. Laki, laki, do you have? So for you, so you would translate it as do you have? Laki ukhtun, do you have a sister? La, mali ukhtun. Okay, so here is ma and nafi. Once again, this is the ma for negation. So li, as we So before it means I have. Yani this is lam milkiya with the ya, which indicates we're talking about ana, I, or me. And when you put the man in front of it, it negates it. So mali, so I don't have ukhtun. Okay. Alaki, akhun, do you have a brother? Naam, li akhun kabirun. Yes, I have a big brother. وهو طالب bin jami'ati, and he's a student at the university. So here, just like we say, my big brother, in English. So it doesn't mean that necessarily he's big in size, but just that he's older than her in age. He's her older brother, right? So, نعم لي أخ كبير وهو طالب bin jami'ati. Yes, I have a big brother, older brother, and he is a student in the university. Okay, نعم bin jami'ati, or you could translate it as at the university. This and this B here. Remember, it's a harf jar, so it makes jami'a majroor. So it's bil jami'ati with a kasra on a ta marbuta. ومن هذا الطفل الذي معك? So we're talking about a boy child. Yani a tifl is a very young child. So we say, or can even be mean a baby. So who is this tifl? من ومن طفل من هذا الطفل من هذا الطفل, because ta is from the sun letters, so you connect straight to you merge straight to the sound of the ta. ومن هذا الطفل طفل الذي الذي who طفل الذي. So remember, these lambs connect. This is hamza to wasl, so this lam has to connect directly to the next lam, because you have hamza to wasl, so you skip the sound of the hamza and you say الطفل الذي معك. So who is this young child that is with you? Okay. هو ابن أخي. هو ابن أخي. So we have hamza to wasl, so the wow goes straight to the ba. It merged straight into the. It will merge straight into the ba. We skip the sound of the hamza, and it's huwa ibnu. He is the son of akhi, my brother, which makes him what? He's my nephew. Now, huwa ibnu akhi. Masmuhu. Hamza to wasl, go straight to the scene. Masmuhu. What is his name? Masmuhu. Ismuhu Sa'dun. His name is Sa'd. Okay. Ummuki fin bayt al-ana. Is your mom in the house right now? Now, al-ana la dhahabat ila al-mustashfa. No, she went. So remember, we mentioned this in the beginning. So when you're conjugating the past tense for here, then see that dhahaba. So if we just scratch out this ta here, just dhahaba means he went. To make it she went, you just add a ta with a sukoon. Dhahabat. And for all 3-letter verbs in the past tense, this is the same way you would do it. Okay, so like fa'ala, fa'alat, shariba, sharibat. Naam. What else? Any single one. I was trying to give you akala. He ate. Akalat. She ate. Okay. Shariba. He drank. Sharibat. She drank. So you just put this ta'nith, the ta for, you can say for femininity, the feminine ta, and you put a sukoon on it. Dhahabat in the past tense. Idan mustashfa. She went to the hospital. Okay. Tamarinu. Remember, tamareen has only one dhamma at the end. Tamareen does not have. This is a plural form that does not have tanween. Okay. Some plural forms have them, some don't. This one doesn't. Okay. Tamarinu, exercises. Iqra waktub. Read and write. Okay. Kayfa haruka ya abi. We know it's kayfa haruka. Why? Because who are we addressing? Ya abi. We're addressing a man. How are you, my father? Kayfa haruka ya abi. So, and then here we have. So we use kayfa haruka or kayfa haruki. So just look carefully who's being addressed, and you see ya umi. So we're addressing a woman, so it's kayfa haruki. So you have to put a kasra under the kaf. Kayfa haruki. Where if you're addressing a man, it's kayfa haruka. How are you, O father? Kayfa haruki, O my mother. Kayfa haruki. How are you, O my mother? Okay. Aina let's see. Aina, excuse me. Ainab nuki ya Zainabu. We know it's kaf with a kasra because we're addressing a woman. So you look at the next phrase. So even without the tashkil, you'll know what the vowel points are by looking at the context, like who is being addressed. So it says aina. So if we were addressing a man, like if we say aina ibnuka ya Muhammad, it's going to be, you're going to have a fatha because you're addressing a man, but here we're addressing a woman. So we say aina ibnu. We have a hamzatul wasl, so the noon goes straight to the ba. Aina ibnuki ya Zainabu. Aina ibnuki ya Zainabu. Where is your son, O Zainab? Dhahaba ila masjidi. He went to the masjid. Dhahaba ila masjidi. Aina bint. So here we have to look at, so we know, does this get a kes? Does this kaf get a fatha or a kasra? So look at who's being addressed, okay? Because if there was no person here, we'd have to look farther in the context to know who is, who are they speaking to. But since they mention a person's name and it's a female's name, we know they're talking to a female. So it's Aina bintuki. Aina bintuki ya Aminatu. Where's your daughter, O Amina? Dhahabat ila madrasati. So notice the difference. To take something from dhahaba, he went, to make it dhahabat, just add this ta right here and put a sukoon on it. Dhahabat, right? Dhahabat, she went. إلى المدرسة. لمن هذه الساعة الجميلة. So, so we have lam al-mankiya, liman, so for who or whose, هذه الساعة, this watch, and jamila. Whose beautiful watch is this? Here, and to know whether we say laka or laki, we have to look at who's being addressed. Is we see ya Fatima too, so we know it's a woman being addressed or a girl being addressed. So we would say ahiya laki, ya Fatima too. Okay, is it yours or Fatima too? Does it belong to you? And she answered, Naam, hiya li. Hiya, it is. Hiya referring back to the watch, the sa'a, because sa'a is a feminine word, so we're going to use hiya, and we'll translate that as it. Yani talking about the watch. And li, with the ya, put a kasra under the lam, and you have the ya. Li, we know that means for me. So, or yani belongs to me. So you say hiya li. Yes. So basically, you could translate that as it is mine. Yes, it is mine. Now, move right along. Okay. Ahada. So you're gonna know whether to say qalamuka or qalamuki based on who's being addressed. Where it says ya Muhammadu, we're addressing a man, so we know it's qalamuka. Ahada qalamuka ya Muhammadu. Is this your pen, O Muhammad? La. Hada qalamuka anta. No, this is your pen. So whoever was addressing him, and for emphasis, so there was no dispute. He said, even though qalamuka means your pen, he didn't have to say anta. He added anta for emphasis, as we went over in the index. هذا قلمك أنت. This is your pen. نعم. تلك السيارة الجميلة التي خرجت الآن من المدرسة للمدير. So تلك, this car, السيارة, الجميلة, this beautiful car, التي, which, خرجت. So even so, for inanimate objects that are feminine, we're going to conjugate the verb to the feminine form. So this is, I'm going to put this. So this is going to be kharajat. And you put a sukoon on a ta. Why? Because sayara is feminine. So we're conjugating it for the past tense, which is going to be here. Okay? Tinka sayaratun jamilatul lati. Remember, there's a shadda on the lam, and this becomes hamza to wasl. This aleph here, this hamza you see becomes hamza to wasl. So you say tinka sayaratun lati kharajat. You wouldn't say kharaja. Why? Because sayara, you see the tamabuta is feminine. So you have to translate it or conjugate it as she went. but literally it's an inanimate object. But as we said, said before, there's no neutral gender word in the Arabic language, and verbs are based on gender as well. The whole it's in the whole language. So kharajat, and this is something else where you have to be aware of, is when you have something with alif lam, which comes after this the single feminine verb form in the past tense. Yani for here is for the flow of reading, you don't say kharajat al-ana. This once again becomes like a hamza to wasl. You knock out this sound right here, and you're gonna put a kasra on this ta. So if it's by itself, yani if there's no alif lam on the word next to it, then it's kharajat. But because of this alif lam, this alif becomes a hamza to wasl, and you go straight to the lam. Okay, which will have a sukoon on it, and so you'll say kharajatil. You wouldn't say kharajat al-ana, you say kharajatil ana. Okay, so this ta has to merge with this lam. Okay? This is just for the flow of reading. Where if I stop on kharajat, I would stop on the ta, right on that sukoon. I would say kharajat. But because of this alif lam coming after it, I had to say kharajatil ana. Which went out. Remember, kharaja means that he went out, he exited. So here means she went out, exited. تلك السيارة الجميلة التي خرجت الآن, which went out now or departed, left now. من المدرسة, it left now from the school. للمدير, it belongs to the mudir. للمدير. So remember, we went over before, when you have this this lam al-milkiya and it connects to a word which has an alif lam, you lose the alif altogether. The alif just disappears, and the sound merges straight with the lam from the alif lam. So it's as if that alif never, because it's al-mudir by itself, but it's as if that alif never existed. So it just becomes lil mudiri. So it belongs to the mudir. Okay. Anta muhandisun ya akhi. Are you an engineer, or my brother? La ana tabibun. No, I am a doctor. La ana tabibun. Anti tabibatun ya ukhti. Are you a doctor, or my sister, female doctor? So it's the same word as for a male doctor is tabib, so you just add a ta mabuta and make it tabibatun. Okay, for a woman. Anti tabibatun ya ukhti. La ana mudarrisatun. No, I am a teacher. Ana mudarrisatun. Okay, so in like in Arabic, everything is gender specific, right? So just like in English, we could say she is a teacher, he is a teacher, they're teachers, and we don't have to change it for the gender. Where in Arabic, if it's a male and he's a teacher, we say mudarrisun. He is huwa mudarrisun. If it's a woman and she's a teacher, hiya mudarrisatun. Male doctor, tabibun, huwa tabibun. Female doctor, hiya tabibatun. Naam. So there's, the language is gender specific in everything. Now, اقرأ كل جملة من الجمل الآتية. So read every sentence from the following sentences. So jumal, here, it's going to get a dhamma here, and it has fatha over the meen. So jumlatun, they didn't give you the tashkil, but I'm going to try to, sorry for the hammer, it's really hard to write with this thing. So read every sentence. Jumlatin. اقرأ كل جملة من الجمل. جمل, it is majroor because of the meen. I'm sorry, because of the min. Min is from huruf jar, from min, and it's also what happens when there's an alif lam. So this is like this rulings concerning this. When you have this alif lam, the definite article, yani when you have that come after min, then because you know how min usually has a sukoon, so it's usually like this. So you put a kasra, it has a sukoon, min. But you wouldn't say here min and jumal al-atiyati. You open up the sukoon. The sukoon disappears, and you put a fatha. You put a fatha in its place, and you say minal. and this becomes a hamza tawassul, right, for the connection, for the flow of reading, and it goes, the sound of the noon merges with the lam. So it's minal, minal, jumal al-atiyati. So read each sentence from the following sentences. ثم اقرأها أخرى, excuse me. Then read it again. بعد تغيير المنادى كما هو موضح في المثال. Then read it again. So أخرى, this is the feminine version of other, or another, and they're referring to another time. بعد after تغيير, and the word after بعد becomes مجرور. So it's بعد تغييري, and then when you have this alif lam, you don't say تغييري المنادى. The raw connects with the sound of the lam. So it's بعد تغيير المنادى. Munad, this is munada, this is maf'ulun bihi. Yani the one who's being called. Yani this is the maf'ul bihi for the verb nada yunadi. Yani with the, like when we use ya, harf al-nida, the person that we're calling is called al-munada. Al-munada is the one who's being called. Whereas if there was if this was a ya with the two dots, and if there's kasra here, then al-munadi is the person that's calling. So like if I call out to you and you say your name is Muhammad, I say, Ya Muhammad, Muhammadu, I'm the munadi, and you're the munada. Because you're the one that's being called. Okay. So here they're saying that after changing the person being called al-munada, kama huwa muwaddahun fi midal. So read it again another time after changing the person being called as it is made clear or explained in the example. So let's get ahead and let's get rid of some of these. Get rid of this, and we'll move down a little bit. Now, so let's look at the example and see. We'll figure out exactly what they want us to do. So midalun. So the example, aina, excuse me, qalamuka ya abi. Oh my father, where is your pen? And then here we have aina qalamuka ya ummi. So what's wrong here? So from based on what we learned, what would you see is wrong in this word? It's right here. We're addressing a woman. So we can't say aina qalamuka, because you say ya ummi. You're saying oh my mother. So you don't want to call her a man. So you say aina qalamuki. Nah? So you have to change it. So that's what they want you to do. They say read every sentence from the following sentences, then read it again after changing al-munada, changing the one that's being called. Yani the al-munada, as it is made, clarified, explained in the example. Okay, let's see the next one. Okay, عندك قلم يا محمد. Ya Muhammad, do you have a pen? Okay, عندك, which is correct because you're saying عندك قلم يا محمد. So now we're going to address a woman. The munada is being changed. The munada here is Muhammad. He's the munada. So we were calling out to a man. Now we're calling out to a woman. Ya aminatu. So what do we have to change to make it correct for this? So would you say to a woman, عندك قلم يا aminatu? So no, that wouldn't be correct because you're addressing a woman. So you have to change this to عندك. So you just make it the the singular feminine form for you. Okay, the attached pronoun for you is ki instead of ka. So you say عندك قلم يا آمنة. Okay. أين بيتك يا أستاذي? Where's your house, oh my teacher? أين بيتك يا أستاذي? And now we're changing al-munada, the person being called. We're saying ya ustadati. Okay, my female teacher. Ya ustadati. So you can't say aina baytuka. Now you have to say aina baytuki. So just put a kasra on the kaf. Aina baytuki ya ustadati. Okay. هذا الدفتر لك يا علي. Oh Ali, is this your notebook? هذا الدفتر, this notebook. لك يا علي. So now we're addressing Fatima. Ya Fatima too. So we're changing al-munadi. right? This is the important thing. Who we're calling, and munadi. So we have to address her properly, and we say, "Ahada daftaru laki, laki, ya Fatimatu." Min aina anta ya akhi? Where are you from, oh my brother? And now the munada is changed into ukhti, or my sister. So you would just say, Min aina anti ya ukhti. Naam. Aina abuka ya Khalidu? Where is your father, O Khalid? Aina abuka ya Khalidu? And munada changes to Khadija. So you have to say, Aina abuki ya Khadijatu? Aina abuki ya Khadijatu? أأنت مريض يا خالي? أأنت مريض يا خالي? Are you sick, oh my my maternal uncle? Yani this is your uncle on your mother's side. يا خالي. أأنت مريض يا خالي? And we're changing it to your maternal aunt on your mom's side, right? So you would have to. So what would you do to make murid? Now you have to make murid. So you have to change two things. You have to change. So you're saying you feminine, so it has to be nt. You can't say enta, right? Because you're talking to a woman. So you say nt, and then you have to make murid feminine. So to make it feminine, all you would do is add that ta mabuta, and I'll write it out so we can see it. Okay. Sorry, the keys on my keyboard are really hard to read sometimes. Okay, so you just add a ta mabuta, and this dod gets a fatha to make it feminine. Anti muridatun ya khalati. Anti muridatun ya khalati. Are you sick, oh my aunt? Okay. Aina bintuka ya ammi? Where is your daughter, oh my paternal uncle on my dad's side? Aina bintuka ya ammi? And we're changing it to paternal aunts on the father's side. Ammati, so we would say Aina bintuki. And use that again. Aina bintuki ya ammati. Excuse me, ya ammati. Alaka akhun ya hamidu? Or Hamid, do you have a brother? Alaka akhun ya hamidu? Now we're talking Suad, so we just change it to Alaki akhun ya Suadu. That's all you have to change. Alaki akhun ya Suadu. Mada indaka ya akhi? What do you have? Oh, my brother. Mada indaka ya akhi? And we're changing it to, oh, my sister. So we just change it. Mada indaki. Mada indaki ya ukhti. Mada indaki ya ukhti. Assalamu alayka ya abi. You go giving salams to your father. Assalamu alayka ya abi. Oh, my dad. Assalamu alayka. Assalamu alayka. So if you're talking to your mom, ya umi, we change it to assalamu alayki. Assalamu alayki ya umi. Clear everything out real quick, and so we can go to the next page. Okay. Anith. Anith. This is a command form. Okay. فعل الأمر. أنث الفاعل في كل من الجمل الآتية. So make feminine. This is the make feminine. أنث, which in the past tense he made feminine. يؤنث, he makes feminine in the present tense, and to make it the command form is أنث. أنث with a shadow over the noon. أنث. أنث. الفاعل. So make the doer of the action, the one who's doing the fi'l, the action, make that person feminine in each one of the following sentences. Okay, so to give you the sentence, and so you have to conjugate it for hiya. Okay, hiya in the past tense. Okay, so here's midal. This is the example. خرج محمد من البيت. So Muhammad, he went out from the house. خرج محمد من البيت. In order to make it feminine, what do we have to do? We add this ta'nith. To make it ta'nith, to make it feminine, we add this what's called ta'nith, and put a sukoon on it. All right? Let's put a sukoon. So kharajat, she went out. Aminatu min al-bayt. Amina went out from the house. Okay? So we have dhahaba al-mudarrisu ila al-fasli. So the teacher, the male teacher, he went to the class. So to make it female teacher, you're going to have to change two things. You have to change the verb. We have to make the verb feminine for here. We have to conjugate it for here in the past tense. And we have to also add something onto al-mudarris, right? So we have to add a ta marbuta. So we make it dhahaba al-mudarrisatu. Dhahabat. Sorry, dhahabat. Let's go ahead and write it out real quick. Okay. So it's ذهبت المدرسة. ذهبت المدرسة. Okay, the female teacher went to the class. Okay. ذهبت المدرسة إلى الفصل. Excuse me. ذهب أبي إلى المستشفى. My father went to the hospital. ذهب أبي إلى المستشفى. So we changed two things here as well to make the fa'al feminine. So you and we have to change the verb for here for the past tense. So just like here, we have to make it ذهبت, and then you can say أمي. ذهبت أمي إلى المستشفى. جلس الطالب في الفصل. جلس الطالب في الفصل. The student sat in the class. So we have to make it a female student and make we have to conjugate the verb for here. So we make it جلست تاء التأنيث. You have to add that تاء التأنيث. جلست الطالبة. جلست الطالبة. The female student sat في الفصل in the classroom. خرج أخي من البيت. My brother went out from the house. خرج أخي من البيت. So we have to add this تاء التأنيث and make it خرجت أختي من البيت. خرجت أختي من البيت. So the next one is, let me clear that out so we can move along. Okay, تأمل ما يلي. جلست الطالبة. جلست الطالبة. So remember, as I mentioned before, that it's incorrect to say جلست and stop on a ta when you have this alif lam following it. So you don't say جلست الطالبة. You have to make this ta into a kasra to make it جلست الطالبة. جلست tit, because ta is a من حروف الشمسية, is a sun letter. So it's جلست الطالبة. جلست الطالبة. All right, so you forget about the sukoon when you have this, when it's followed by alif lam. Okay, so yeah, it's showing you how to, it changes from sukoon to kasra. The last letter gets a kasra, and so what this when you have hiya in the past tense instead of a sukoon. اقرأ الجمل الآتية. So read the following sentences. So this also, as I told you before, so inshallah, just to reiterate it, takrar, repetition, help us to remember. Oops, I already messed that up. Okay. All right. So we know min usually looks like it has a kasra and a sukoon, usually. But when it's followed by alif lam, let me erase this. Oops. Let me erase this sukoon. It now gets, you open it up and put a fatha on it. And so it's minal, it goes straight to the lam. This becomes hamza to wasl. Minal fata. Afwan, this is not min, this is men. My bad, I messed that up. Yeah. So I was right the first time. Yeah, this is so actually this changes, and this noon, so usually men would have a sukoon, it's gonna get a kasra. Manil fata. Manil fata. For the flow of reading. So like if I stop on men, I say men with a sukoon. Right? I say men like that. But for the flow of reading, when you have this alif lam right after it, this becomes a hamza to wasl, and you say manil fata fatal man fatal talladhi, and this goes straight to the lam. Manil fata fatalladhi. So who is the young man? Al fata alladhi kharaja min bayt. So this is another thing. Okay. Bayt has to be majroor because of min. Min بيتك من بيتك becomes مجرور because of من is حرف جر. So خرج من بيتك. So this ta, the last letter has to get a kasra. من بيتك كالآن. And this is another hamza to wasl. So the kaf goes straight to the lam. Goes straight, merges straight to it. Okay. من فتاة الذي خرج من بيتك الآن. Who is the young man who came out from your house now? Right now. هو ابن عمي. He is, see hamza to wasl, so connect the waw to the ba. هو ابن, and this is the idafa, so it's only going to have one haraka on the first word, the mudaf. And okay, and so هو ابن, he is the son of ammi, of my paternal uncles, which would mean what? That he is my male cousin. Okay, هو ابن عمي. Okay, men, and here we have it again. So men by itself is like this. Okay, you have a fatha over the meme and a sukoon on the noon, but because we're this alif lam for the flow of reading, we're going to put a kasra on the noon. Manil, manil. The alif becomes a hamza to wasl, so forget it like it's not there. You don't make that sound anymore. You don't say man al fatatu, it becomes manil, manil fatatul lati. So who is the young woman? Yani, or the young girl? Man fatatul lati, who was a young girl who kharajat. Kharajat, so this is in the past tense for here. Kharajat, she came out. Min, once again, bait has to become majroor because of min. Min baytika al-ana, she came out from your house now. Ya Muhammadu. So who is the young girl who came out from your house now? Ya Muhammadu. And remember, al-ana is always al-ana. Mamnu' min as-sarf. The end's not going to change. Okay. من الفتاة التي خرجت من بيتك الآن يا محمد؟ هي بنت خالتي. She is the daughter of, so this is idafa. So notice there's only one dhamma on bint because it's mudaf, and this is, and khalati is mudaf ilay. Bintu khalati. She is the daughter of my maternal aunt, which makes her my female cousin. Now, liman المفتاح الذي على المكتب. So once again, notice we have an alif lam right after the noon in men. So liman, so normally you're stopping, you have a sukoon on a noon, but because for this flow of reading, liman, and we're talking about men, so we give it a kasra on the noon. The alif in al-miftah becomes hamza to wasl, so the sound gets knocked out of the box and no longer exists. I'm sorry, limanil. So the noon connects right to the lam. Limanil miftahu. So to who, yani, is the key. So yani, whose key? Miftahul. And this, so you have the sukoon on top of the lam. So this ha, so there's also an alladhi. The alif becomes hamza to wasl, right? So the ha is going to connect and merge directly with the lam. Liman al-miftahu alladhi. So whose key is this which? Alladhi, which is ala al-maktabi, which is on the desk. Whose key is this? Which alladhi is on the desk, ala al-maktabi. Huwa lil-mudarrisi. And notice the alif is completely gone because it is lam and milkiya when it connects directly to the lam. When you have an alif lam, the alif disappears and you connect the sound, you merge the sound of the two lams together. Lil, meaning belonging to. Lil. Huwa lil mudarrisi. It is the teachers. Okay? The huwa refers back to al-miftah. Miftah because it is masculine. So if you're gonna, to make it easy, instead of saying you can't say miftahu again. You could say al-miftahu alladhi. You could print it and say the whole sentence. Again, pretty much you say you could say al-miftahu alladhi ala maktabi. Lil-mudarrisi is the teachers. Or to make it easy on yourself, just say, because we already know which key you're talking about, al-miftahu alladhi ala maktabi, which is on the desk. So let's say huwa lil-mudarrisi. It is the teachers. Okay. Okay, liman. And once again, right after the noon, what do you have? You have this alif lam again. So it's li. Okay, so the lam has a kasra, mim has a fatha, and the noon gets a kasra. And the alif becomes hamza tawassul, and the noon merges directly to the lam. Liman, well, actually, sin is a sun letter, so the noon merges directly to the sin. So you skip over the sound of the alif and lam as if they're not there. Okay. Liman sa'atu. Liman nis connects directly to the sa. Sa'atul lati. Okay, so this becomes hamza tawassul, so the ta merges straight with the lam. Liman sa'atul lati ala sariri. Alas, because seen is from the sun letters. So ala, this ala, sound goes straight, it merges straight to the scene. Alas sariri. Alas, las sariri. Liman as-sa'atu allati ala sariri. So whose watch is it? Which allati ala sariri is on the bed. Okay. Here refers to what? As-sa'a. The sa'a is feminine, so we have to use here. Here, li zawji ukhti. It is my sister's husband. Okay, so you could my brother-in-law, basically. Yeah. So here, li zawji ukhti. Li zawji, and this is idafa, so that's why zawj only has one haraka. And the haraka, if it wasn't for this lam and milkiya, then the haraka would be a dhamma. But because of the lam and milkiya, it makes zawj what? Majroor. Majroor. It's a harf jar. So since it's majroor, the sign of being majroor is this. What? Kasra. Li zawji. Li zawji ukhti. Yani it belongs to the zawj of my sister. Yani my sister's husband. Li zawji ukhti. أكمل الجمل الآتية بوضع اسم موصول مناسبا التي في الفراغ. So it's saying complete the following sentences by placing ism mawsul munasib. So ism mawsul, as you could probably figure out by what they put in the parentheses, is alladhi and allati are both ism mawsul. Mawsul means connected. Okay, mawsul, it's from the verb wasala, which means to connect, or yani to reach. Like when you say wasaltu bisanama, I arrived. I reached bisanama. Yani you connected to where you were going. Wasaltu wasalna, we arrived. Wasalna Amrika bisanama, we arrived in America with sanama, with safely. Yani we connected. Yani your feet connected to the ground, so you got this. You got this safe. Right, so ism mawsul is alladhi and allati. Alladhi is what? Mudhakar. Alladhi is masculine. Yani, so it's going to be, you're going to translate it as who or which. Yani, if it's a human being, if it's dhul aql, something possessing an aql, is alladhi. If it's something ghayru aql, yani not, it's an inanimate object or an animal, you're going to use allati. Allati. Yani, but you can if it's I'm sorry, if it's an animate object where it's a masculine word, you still use al-ladhi. Like al-kitab al-ladhi, the book which, you would still use al-ladhi. Okay, so that it doesn't it doesn't apply that al-lati is if it's a feminine word, yani a feminine word, or it's a woman, yani it's a female, yani then you use al-lati. Al-lati. But farag in the blank space, so it's clear everything, so we can move along. Okay, bring this up. Okay, so complete, yani, so akmal here is like, akmal can mean perfect or complete. So this is the fi'l amr, this is a command form, that means complete. Akmal, yani, like what Allah said, akmaltu lakum dinakum, I completed your deen for you, right? Now, so akmal is complete. Al-jumla al-atiyata, so complete the following sentences by placing the ism mawsul munasib. Yani the munasib is the one that's suitable or fitting, yani fin farag. So you have to look at the sentence and based on the context, see which one you should use. So here is al-kitab. Al-kitab is a masculine or feminine word. Kitab is masculine, so we say الكتاب الذي على المكتب للمدرس. So we use الذي. So the book which is on the desk is for the teacher. أكملت لكم دينكم. So they are completed or perfected your religion for you. Okay. All right. Al-qalam. So qalam, you know, mudhakkar. It's mudhakkar. It's a masculine word. So we say al-qalam alladhi fi haqibati maksur. The pen which is in my bag is broken. Al-qalam alladhi fi haqibati maksurun. As-sayara. So here, it's as-sayara is feminine. As the tam marbuta, which indicates that. So we say as-sayaratu allati, which kharajat, came out. We use, you know, ta'nif, and when we conjugate it in the past tense for here, because sayara is a feminine word, so we have to make it conjugated for here. السيارة التي خرجت من المستشفى الآن للطبيب الجديد. So the car which came out from the hospital now is for the new doctor. Okay. Al-kalb. Kalb is, I said it's a masculine word, so we say al-kalb alladhi, the dog which fil haqiqati is in the garden, muridun, is sick, muridun. Okay. Al-fata alladhi kharaja min al-masjid al-ana ibnun mu'adhin. He's the son of the mu'adhin. So the young man which he came out, alladhi kharaja, he came out from, min al-masjid al-ana, anas nabnu mu'adhini. He is the son of the mu'adhin. Tilka al-battatu, that duck, so it's ism al-ishara and ba'id. You know, so we're pointing out or indicating something which is far. So we using tinka because al-batta is feminine. So use tinka. Tinka al-battatu, that the duck which allati, which allati tahta as-sajarati, which is under the tree. The bint al-fallah, it belongs to the daughter of the farmer. Okay. تلك البطة التي تحت الشجرة ببنت الفلاح. البيت الجديد, the new house, and since it's masculine, we have to say الذي. البيت الجديد الذي في ذلك الشارع للوزير. So the new house which الذي is in that street belongs to الوزير. الدرس الذي بعد هذا الدرس سهل جدا إن شاء الله. So the dars, the lesson which الذي بعد is after هذا الدرس, this lesson سهل جدا, is very easy. Okay. من الفتاة التي جلست أمام المدرسة. So they're asking who, من الفتاة. So you just have to look at the context and know whether it's min or men, because you know when you're reading, yani, you know, children's books and some of the some religious texts, they might have the tashkil just to make sure you don't say it incorrectly, because when saying it incorrectly, you can actually change the meaning. So normally when you're reading a book in Arabic, you're gonna have to look at the context. So because min and men look exactly the same. So without the tashkil, the only way you're going to know is by the context. So like if it was min and fata allati, from the girl who sat in front of the school, that, you know, it's a question that doesn't make any sense. So it have to be men, right? In order to make it make sense. Menil, and remember, when it's men, okay, so we know men, you know, gets a fatha over the meme. And when we're connecting it to an alif lam, then we, for the flow of reading, we give the noon a kasra. Manil, go straight to the lam. Manil, fatatul lati jalasat amam al-madrasati. Who is the young girl that sat in front of the school? Hiya talibatun min Malaysia. She is a female student from Malaysia. Atilka al-haqibatu. So haqiba has a tan mubuta, so you know it's feminine, right? So atilka al-haqibatu allati. So you have to use allati, excuse me, which تحت المكتب, which is under the desk. Laka ya khalidu. So is the bag which is under the desk yours, ya Khalid? أتلك الحقيبة التي تحت المكتب لك يا خالد. لا هي لصديقي محمد. No, it is my friend Muhammad's حقيبة, his bag. هي لصديقي محمد. Okay. الكلمات الجديدة, the new words. Okay, so we have العم. العم is أخو الأب. أخو الأبي. Yani he's the brother of the father, so he's the paternal uncle. Okay. العمة أخت الأب. So on the father side, right? So the is the sister of the father, so the paternal aunts. الخل أخو الأم. The khal is the brother of the mother, so he's the maternal uncle. الخالة أخت الأم. The khala is the sister of the mom, so that's the maternal aunt. الفلاح is the farmer, right? مستشفى الولادة is the maternity hospital. So let's go ahead and should we clear everything? Naam, alhamdulillah, that was Dars الثاني عشر. Any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment section, and please like and share this video and subscribe. Wa barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.